Howdy everybody, welcome back to some more RPG horror stories. Let's jump right into it. Our first story for today is going to be from user And You Will Be Cured and is titled Space Anime Princess is Ruining My Game. Hi Reddit, so I am a bit perplexed over the situation and would appreciate any advice. Also, my blood is boiling, but I'll try to keep this fair and factual. Currently, I am running a part of an online D&D campaign and it is the best campaign of my life. I am enjoying it immensely, especially since my previous full-blown campaign's ending traumatized me a bit. My new DM, highly recommended, delivered fantastic sessions, great storytelling, balanced spotlight, the works. Then one day it all changed and one of the players asked if his wife could join. She'd supposedly been bullied out of another game. We are decent people, so we agreed. Later, we learned that she had been bullied out, quote-unquote, of several campaigns with different groups. That's red flag number one. Somebody getting bullied out of several campaigns probably should be a red flag. Bullied out of a few, sure, maybe you've had some bad luck. Bullied out of several kind of goes along with the saying, if you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day, you're the asshole. Her first action was demanding her paladin character be a literal anime space princess and would not accept any pleadings with us being a ragtag team of homeless scavengers. She would not budge, and the DM compromised, making her an emperor's illegitimate daughter. Not yet 100% confirmed, but enough to keep her satisfied. Red flag number two. Okay, I'm just gonna flat out say it. If it doesn't fit the setting, the DM should have said something. Like if the character concept doesn't work, and there's a way to make anime space princess work, you know? Maybe illegitimate daughter thrown into the gutter, you know? Daughter, like a courtesan's daughter or something, or the, I don't know, emperor slept with a maid or some crap like that. There's a way to make it work, but I feel like if it really doesn't fit, just say no. DMs just say no. If it doesn't fit your world, your setting, whatever, don't force it. After some traveling, she started subtly trying to change other PCs to fit in her narrative, masking it with backhanded compliments such as, "Wow, your auto-gnome was so much less annoying this time. Keep it up." And my poor auto-gnome monk was not the only receiver of this treatment. This also included comments towards our cute elf warlock and several NPCs. She even started actively referring to two other players, including her husbands, as, quote, my simps. Then one day during combat, she threw a fit when the DM hit her 21 AC enemy Princess Paladin several times. "This is not fair. Roll publicly. I don't trust your rolls." We were quite taken aback and again tried to reason with her, after which she claimed she was being bullied again before finally calming down. Okay, backhanded comments could be misconstrued as maybe some teasing, but if she's doing it to everyone and it clearly isn't well received, it's a problem. Also, if your backhanded comments kind of sound like that kind of crap, you're just being an asshole, let's be honest. By this time, me and my friend, the Warlock, already approached the DM to discuss how she was making us uncomfortable. He said that he would talk to her, and for the next session, it all died down, so we thought it bore fruit. Then a week ago came a breaking point. Princess multi-classed into Warlock. The DM suggested a patron and was crystal clear, both directly and indirectly via NPCs. This patron was evil, would corrupt her, and may exploit her royal bloodline for its own ends. She agreed, as her potential patron promised her an ascension to the throne. We all thought, how cool is that? Her anime paladin will finally be going through an interesting arc. Yet, when the DM roleplayed her character's growing bloodlust, exactly as warned, Princess was shocked. Princess was outraged. Princess said that her character would never feel such dark urges. After the session during her scheduled feedback time, she proclaimed she had a, quote, joint complaint against the DM. What exactly is a, quote, joint complaint if no one of the party participated, you ask? Turns out she complained to out-of-game friends who knew nothing about our campaign and then accused the DM of stripping her agency as a player, as there was lack of wisdom saves to resist these urges. Guys, she screenshotted their nasty messages and sent them directly to the DM's DMs. The messages were they mocked my DM and questioned his competence. I'm fuming even now. Joint complaint? What the fuck is that? Not everything needs to be a save, if we're going to be blunt here. If you want to build tension, sure, call for a save. But it isn't required, especially if in and out of character there was buildup that occurred and mentioned that X canon will happen. If her friends have such an issue, why don't they run a campaign with her? I do like that this table of schedules feedback will say. That's great. It's good to see how everybody's handling the campaign, gameplay, etc. That being said though, I don't think saves are necessary. I think especially in a situation where if you are like signing a contract with a warlock or with like a patronage of warlock, your hand can be forced. The way you are given that power is you are signing a part of yourself, part of control, something to the patron. that gives that patron in RP the ability to influence your actions greatly, and you as a player, you need to flow with that. If you didn't want them giving you that kind of influence, should have gone fucking sorcerer or some shit like that. And to be honest, just go with the flow. If he was doing something, if the DM was doing something, I'm talking absolutely horrendous, like not talked about at the table, kind of like shit. So like, let's say this DM, let's just imagine here in this scenario, I'm going to jump to the age old, we're going to go weird and sexual here. Not too much graphic detail. Let's just imagine, okay? The DM forces her character to maybe do something sexual. Prostitute herself, sleep with a noble, I don't know, dance on the table, scantily clad, and that is not something her character would do. I could see that crossing some sort of line. Being up front though and going, hey, this patron, this bad patron, he's not a good guy, he's a bad patron, you know, this devil, whatever, is going to use you for malicious means, and that includes violence. And you're like suddenly Pikachu facing when violence is occurring. Like, what'd you expect? You signed up for this. Like, that should be expected, you know. And if violence is an issue, then you should have said that before the campaign started. And I also, if you have an issue with like violence in general, I'm talking just overall violence in general. I'm not talking sexual violence. I'm not talking anything super extreme. I'm just talking violence in general. I feel like TTRPGs, especially D&D, aren't going to be for you. It's kind of a trope that bad things happen, villages get burned down, bandits attack people, you yourself force violence on other parties in order to either get things that you want, or to complete dungeons, or to oust bad BBEG people. Like, violence is going to occur in a game that has combat. I'm sorry. So Princess needs to buckle up and just kind of, I'm going to be blunt, they need to shut the fuck up and just roll with it. And the whole joint complaint thing is, that would aggravate. As me as a DM, if I had somebody come to me and be like, you know, especially not just like saying something ahead of time maybe, and just like sent a bunch of shit in DMs that other people were shit talking me, and then came with a quote joint complaint, as if these motherfuckers who aren't even part of the table have a say in what happens at the table, I'd be pissed. Princess would be gone. I'd be like, that's fine. This table's not for you. You can go play with those friends who clearly know what they're doing. Have fun. Bye-bye. I digress though. I'm going on a tangent here. Seeing our DM, a kind, talented person, shaken was heartbreaking. So I lost my cool. I told Princess in no uncertain terms that this was unfair, highly unethical, and a violation of trust, which it is. If she didn't trust the DM, she should find a DM that she does trust, instead of trying to walk all over my favorite DM. She abruptly left the session, and I personally spent 20 minutes consoling our sweet DM, which I could understand needing a little bit of consoling. If somebody just like vomited about a bunch of nasty DMs at me and was like, these people at a game say you're a piece of trash kind of thing. Yeah. Especially if I was a newer DM, I'd be hurt. You know, why not just come to me with those issues? Here's the problem. The DM let it slip that he still wants to continue playing with her, as there are a couple sessions left anyway, and he wants to finish her arc. I also suspect that he is afraid that her husband may leave with her, and her hubby is a valuable player and has a great and important character. I love this campaign and the storytelling, but Princess's behavior is ruining my experience and my friend's experience and our DM's experience. How do I support my DM without enabling her? How do we protect his mental health if she stays? I do not want to pressure him to get rid of her, and my other teammates, although uncomfortable, would like to continue as is. All right, this is a really weird, sticky situation to be in. Not a fun one. I'm sorry, OP. If the DM decides to continue with her, they need to lay out some ground rules. If she crosses X line, she's out. You need ground rules. I'd say ask the husband to step in potentially and see if he'll reel her in, but I highly doubt they'll go against their partner. So, you know, wishy-washy on that. Perhaps let this DM finish this like arc out and give them a break before either the next campaign or like continuing the story. Run some one-shots so they can get a little bit of a breather. And definitely voice that you don't want problem person back after that arc or campaign is completed. Our next story is going to be from user, I'm going to fuck this name up, Chirico Palladino. I apologize if I fucked up your name. Title, player character kills an NPC without a single die roll after stealing his partner. This is the first of many horror stories I have about this campaign. It's been long enough that they make me laugh, so I figured it's time to share them. So, we're playing this campaign, DM clearly has a huge bias for one of the players, her best friend who played a Catboy Warlock, to the point of changing the campaign plot because the player romanced the vampire BBEG, which immediately forced us to give up fighting him without a proper reason. He was still evil, our characters were still morally against him, but DM and Warlock loved him, so going against him was out of the question. But a campaign needs a villain alright, so the DM had what must have been a great idea to her, taking the BBEG's previous love interest, also a vampire, who was by no means a villain and was immediately set aside upon the arrival of Warlock in the beginning of his flirtations with the BBEG, and turning him into the new villain. His sole reason for being a, quote, villain was that he was jealous of Warlock for stealing his partner, by the way. Alright, so that's a weird kind of story twist to make a new BBEG, the Jealous X. Sounds like a weird kind of moral gray area for fighting somebody. I think if I was to do this, I think I would change it up a little bit. I'm all for maybe a reformed BBEG, you know, Warlock, Catboy, charms the ever-loving shit out of this what was, you thought, the BBEG Vampire Lord. Plot twist. They really aren't so bad after all. It turns out the X was the problem. Maybe, you know, to the party they were like, what? Steve, the other vampire dude, totally was not like evil, but then it's like, moo ha ha ha, he actually was, and he was like, I don't know, manipulating BBEG, ex-BBEG vampire guy who's now dating Catboy Warlock guy. You know, and part of the arc is like to clear what was once evil BBEG dating Catboy Warlock's name or something like that. Like that maybe is something I would do with if I had to dump a BBEG all of a sudden and make them not a bad guy, you know? Or hey, if you got anime fans, even better, you go the JoJo route, okay? You have the party beat the fuck out of the evil BBEG guy, okay? He gets his ass beat. He comes to his senses. He goes, oh my God, Catboy Warlock, my love, the one I've been waiting for. Your ass beating, your Eldritch Blast showed me the way, you know. And then like first he was bad and now he's good kind of thing. Like maybe you go that route if you're like doing something a little bit weirder, like you're a little more, I don't know, anime and weird with your campaign. Like that could work. And then like you bring in the Jealous X who is like, Robert, we were going to like rule the world together, but then they beat your ass with that Eldritch Blast and you fell in love with a twink cat boy, and here we are. I'm going to continue what we once had. I will strike you down because if you're not with me, you're against me, or some shit like that. Boom, done. I've rewritten this and I already think it's better. Let me know what you think. I don't know. This is me spitballing like just right off the cuff right now. That was a weird tirade. I'm here for it. So far, so bad, but at least we have something to do during the rest of the campaign. Fast forward, we have to march against the new BBEG, who acquired a castle for himself. The party, except for Warlock, who was still a player character but not really in the party anymore, was expecting a huge boss fight and never had the excitement about it. Always fun. I love build up to like a really cool boss fight, and the party's like, ooh, we're gonna fuck him up. Ooh, we're gonna fuck him up. Or, oh shit, we're gonna die. I hope you don't die. We spent weeks getting ready for the fight, spent multiple out-of-character calls and game sessions getting ready for it, saved all our resources to make sure we were ready for the boss fight, and one of the players even tried drawing the castle based on information we had so that we could plan our moves beforehand. Mind you, the DM was aware of all this as she was present during the calls and she was shown the sketches. That's really cool. I love that these players are like so into this that they're trying to like write stuff for it. I love it. The session comes. We run towards the BBEG room as fast as we can, trying to expend as little resources on the way so that we can be ready for the fight. Pause right outside the door to make sure we know what to do once we're in. And once we open that door, Warlock announces he's putting a stake through the BBEG's heart. The DM announces BBEG is dead because the stake pierced him through the heart. No dice rolls, no anything. We didn't even roll initiative. Whole party was left with their almost full resources and HP and a quest completed with a single sentence. I still think about it so often. Holy crap, dude. That's insanely anticlimactic. I could understand like the, how do you want to do this? Once they go through a whole ass battle, being the Warlock driving a stake through the heart of the vampire BBEG, or they drive the stake to the vampire and the vampire like pulls it out and it's like, never seen that one before, and like dusts their hands off and then like, fucking ruins the party or some shit. You know, just that kind of anticlimactic shit to the DM in particular, or that specific DM, or any DMs out there who would think about doing this, that kind of ruins the entire campaign for the party. And even, okay, let's just branch outside of this idea here for a second. Okay, some people have parties that think super far in advance, super down to the detail to try to minimize the difficulty of a boss fight. And I get those parties, I do. I get you. We're going to sneak up on the BBEG while he's asleep and we're going to shank him right in his dick hole and kill him kind of shit. And hopefully, like, their idea is like, oh, we one-shot him because he was asleep. I get it. But we're telling a story, and sometimes a story requires a really cool boss battle. Huh? Yeah. So, have a boss battle. Fucking the warlock, sure, he goes to run up and stab a stake through his heart. He pulls the stake out. He's more evil than you thought. He ain't gonna be easy. He don't go down like no bitch. Boss battle. So, kind of pulling us back in here. Personally, if I was this player, I'd be super hesitant to run a game with this DM again, because who knows if they'll go off the rails and ruin what's potentially months of gameplay down to a single sentence, single action, no rolls, no saves, no nothing, anticlimactic ending. And I would hate to go through that again. Before we begin the last story, I just want to let you guys know I stream over on twitch.tv/FanDavy. Please come follow me there. Stream on Twitch throughout the week, and I would love to have you hang out, playing a whole variety of games. Links are in the description. Let's just get on to the last one. Okay, our last story is going to be from user Sexsmith42. I probably fucked up your name and I apologize. And it's titled, Am I the Asshole for Refusing to Change My Character Race? This might be interesting. I think it's more of an Am I the Asshole story than a horror story, but I'm upset and want to share. Also, I apologize for the possible incorrect use of the term furry. Ooh, I'm very interested here. There may be a language barrier here, and I don't want to offend people who are into anthropomorphic animals. I will be offended. Well, I joined the paid game in a paid club, so basically it's about paying the DM and the club separately. It's a common practice here. With the DM, I never played before in a club I have never visited before. A lot of firsts here. It was a big one-shot or double. I'm going to call it double. Doublet? Double. Like 6 to 9 hours of gameplay planned. So there was no session 0. Instead, everything should be approved by the DM in private messages. It's an interesting concept that paid DMs are a common thing for OP's area. At least the DM approves everything though in messages ahead of time, right? DMs looking for player posts didn't have any details about what materials are allowed to be used in character creation, so I messaged him and asked if I could pick a homebrew race. He said yes, if it's not some kind of overpowered shit. Good on OP for checking. Always check homebrew or character ideas with your DM in advance. I have a hard hyperfixation on chinchillas right now. They are adorable. So I picked a chin race, and they give a link, which I will pull up a beautiful image over here that contains all of the information on what this character is, this kind of race, and sent the link to the DM with my character sheet and a list of my veils. The DM approved my chinchilla wizard, and everything was seemingly going smoothly. Okay, so if you look over here at this beautiful race that's listed up here, this link that they posted, the race to me seems kind of strong. I'm going to be honest here. Dex goes up by 2, intellect by 1. You have advantage on saving throws against cold damage, which is, pretty strong. 60 feet of dark vision, always good. Bonus action disengage or hide action. So that is that little goblin. What's it called? Goblin nimble escape. Proficiency in perception. That's also strong. I feel like getting free proficiency in something. And this is, I think, one of the stronger parts. If they make a dex save to take only half damage on an AoE spell attack, they take no damage on a successful save. So, that's kind of strong. So, we've got that nimble escape goblin feature, which is, I think, really strong and really useful. And they're getting rogue evasion for free on top of dark vision, perception, proficiency, and advantage on cold damage. To me, this is kind of strong. I might be a little hesitant to allow this in my game. I might want to tweak some things with it a little bit, but that's me personally. But if your DM's okay with it, that should be good to go. The day the game came, I came to the club with just a little before beginning, and I was the third one Third one there out of 5 players to come. 2 guys and the DM were already there. The DM greeted me, then asked me to go with him a bit away and said that he had to cancel my chinchilla. I was sad but predictable. I mean, homebrew is homebrew. Me, so should I switch to an official race? DM. Yes, you can take the empty sheet and we'll patiently wait for you. We can always wait for a lady. Well, that's a little weird. Weird wording, but fine. Okay, as I said, I was ready to. DM can decide to drop away a homebrew race. I have a placeholder character that I always keep in my Google Docs. It's a Harengon Barbarian. Chaotic good, simple backstory, could be played as a broken bird with PTSD or a cute stupid bun. Depending on the tone of the game, I can hop, that's a good pun, with her into any game. For those of you who don't know, Harengons are they're a weird fae race they're bunny people. They're the bunny to the cat tabaxi. You know what's weird? Rain of thought. 5e doesn't have an official canine race. They have like werewolves if you go lycanthrope, but that's like a super special option that your DM has to approve. Not like I'm talking like standard fare, you know, humans, elves, dwarves, paragons, tabaxis, warforged, deep gnomes, I don't know, whatever kind of shit. I briefly rewrote her stats from Google Docs to the sheet and gave it to the DM, only to know that homebrew itself wasn't a problem. So, kind of a dick move for DM to pull the rug last minute. This is something that should have been talked about way before the game started. You know, especially a paid game. Good on OP for having a backup PC ready to go. Also, it's a little sexist sounding that they say they can wait on a lady. It gives me those like milady vibes that like the standard fare Redditor trope where they have like a fedora that they tip and they scream a lady, and then when the woman doesn't sleep with them immediately, they call her a, I don't know, fucking pig or some shit because they're disgusting human beings. Not women, the fedora tipping Reddit users. Please don't fucking misconstrue me. DM, well, Harrigans are like bunnies, right? Me, hares, but kind of yes. So her backstory is basically the same that the chinchilla had. Harrigans were soldiers in the Civil War of Fairies. So it's a furry, right? Yes, but I promise there won't be any naughty stuff or anything like that. I won't allow furries. My players don't want it. Nodding towards the guy. I understand that animal-based races are not for everyone. Some think that they are overpowered, some think that they're destroying the atmosphere of classic fantasy, but in the original post, the DM didn't say anything about restrictions on sources or race types. Almost all my characters are built around animal-based races. I'm not a part of the furry community, but I like furries, and Harrigans, Loxodons, and Kenkus are just top-notch races for me. Not only because of design, but features as well. So if the DM says, quote, no furries, or player handbook, you know, races only, etc., I just know that that game's not for me, so I won't try to join it. Okay, DM should have laid out what books, races, etc. were or were not allowed. Now, they did say there were no restrictions, but if there were restrictions, they should have laid out the restrictions. I don't care if it's including furry races or not, or certain books or not. It's totally valid to not include something in your world because it doesn't fit the setting, you think it's bullshit, you don't like the way it looks, whatever, when you're DMing. But you need to be forthright and open about that. No gotchas, no last minute bullshit, none of that. Also, they had the time to say no when they were reviewing her character sheet, assuming they actually reviewed it. I kind of think they didn't review it, but that's me. There was nothing about no furries in the calling post. Yes, but let's have respect for each other. My players don't want to play with furries. And I don't want to play with them, so I think I joined the run party. Sorry. Wait, you can't just go. Then he explained that in this club, the rent of a table costs $10 per table, no matter how many players there are. So if I go, the rest of the players will have to pay $2.50 instead of $2. DM says that it, quote, looks like fraud on your... Okay, that's fucking bullshit. If DM laid out what was and was not allowed beforehand, this could have been avoided. OP isn't playing, OP doesn't pay. You want her to pay? Then you let her play her chinchilla PC. Not that hard of a concept. Pay DM. I paid around 70 cents. I'm not sure if it's 70 cents here, by the way. They kind of note that, like, English isn't necessarily their first language, so in the area they're in, kind of sounds like maybe this is like a different country. So maybe that's not meant to be 70 cents. Maybe it's 70 something. I don't know. I paid around 70, I'm gonna just say cents here, for the subway to get into the club. Only to know that I can't play any of my characters, so it's a fraud of the century nonetheless. Me, that's sad, but I want to play my character, period. You should make your post more clear. Look, you can play any other character. And this is where I just turned and went away. No, I didn't ask other players, didn't try to find a compromise. I was just too hella mad. You don't hear the word hella used that much anymore. I'm guessing that at least a few of the people who signed up for the game were regular players of this DM because he repeatedly referred to them as his players. Which makes it even stranger that the DM didn't mention his regular players' no-nos in the original post. TLDR, DM approved Homebrew Furry Race. When I came to the game with it, DM rejected it. And when I switched to an official Furry Race, DM said he actually bans all furries. So I ran away like a crybaby. Let's get this out of the way immediately. OP, you are not a crybaby. You are not an asshole. You are neither of these things. You are sticking up for yourself. You are not getting bullied by a man. I'm gonna say it was a man in this case. Sounds like a man. You're refusing to be bullied by an asshole who doesn't want to set ground rules beforehand, be open and communicative of what can and cannot happen in a game, and then when it doesn't go his way, wants to fuck you over out of money. Nah, fuck him. DM's an asshole. They okay a PC and then say no right afterwards, and then no to the backup character that you brought but didn't need to bring. Apparently for this jackass, only Jane Human Fighter Woman is allowed. Then they're trying to make her pay to play. Again, it's bullshit. I'm glad she walked away. Overall, DM should have laid out what was okay and not okay before the game. Before the game. Not laying out what is and isn't allowed for a paid game could be argued as being fraudulent. Good on OP for standing her ground. I hope she finds a better table sim. Also, her use of the word furry here is not offensive. At least to me, I didn't see anything offensive about it. If you're a furry and you found it offensive, let me know, I guess. If you weren't offended, I guess let me know too. I don't think there's any offensive use of it here. I know she's not a furry. She's like furry adjacent. But that community is like so big and massive and like diverse that like, for those of you who aren't furries, you can engage with the furry fandom however you want, by the way. You don't have to like run around in like a fursuit or have like a fursona like this. You know, you could just be like, hey, I think some of that shit's neat. Like OP does here where they've got races that are like happen to be furry and whatnot, or you think like anthropomorphic animals are cute or anything like that. You know, that can be how you engage and you don't have to be a furry. So it's okay. It's okay. You can engage with the fandom however you want. It's very expansive and ever evolving. So that being said, thank you for hanging out, everybody. That's going to be it for me today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and catch me on Twitch. Please let me know what your thoughts were on any of these stories. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.